Hey guys, so welcome back to this Python for Beginners tutorial, and in this video we will learn about objects and classes in Python. So if you don't already know, Python has many objects in it, such as a string. So a string is actually an object, and let me just show you. So I'll just create a variable called myString, and let's set that to Python. So myString is actually an object, and the Python is the value or the attribute that myString, the object, stores. So to do some stuff to this object and the attributes that it stores, we can use some methods like we did before. So if we do myString.lower, then it will return to us this string, but with all lowercase, so with a lowercase p. And if we print that out, just to show you guys, see, it just did that, like we did in the previous tutorials. Okay, so now that we kind of understand what a object is, I'll show you how you can create some of your own objects. And to do that, you will create something called a class. So class is like the architecture or like the structure of your object, where all of your like instances, or the actual objects, the instances, will follow the structure. So let's make a class called dog, and remember to use capital letters because that's just a common naming convention. Inside here, we will first create something called the init method. And it's okay if you don't understand this right now, I will try to explain it later. And inside here, let's do a parameter called self, and this is almost like necessary for the program to work. And then like this, just like how we define a function. So inside here, let's set some actual like variables or attributes for the dog class. And before that, actually, let's give it some parameters. So let's give it the name parameter and age. So to set these parameters that are entered into this function or method, we have to do some stuff to actually tell it to give it to each of the instances of the dog class. So to do that, let's do self.name equals to the name parameter that we entered, and self.age equals to age. So basically what this does is it takes the name parameter and then sets the self.name variable, which is the actual attribute of this dog class, to name. And same for the age. So now I'll show you how we can create some actual instances of this class or of this architecture. So we can create some like actual dogs in our program. So first, let's declare the variable name, and we'll set that to dog1. And then let's do equals to dog with a capital letter because that's how we named it, and then parentheses. And basically like this, we created a dog object. And that's inside here, it shows us that we need the parameters name and age. So let's give it that. Let's give it Bob and say he's 2 years old. So now if we print our dog to the console, dog1, well, we see that we get a dog object, and that's exactly what we created. So to do this further, let's make another method called maybe the speak method, and what that will do is print out the dog's name. So we can print my name is, and then plus self.name. Remember, we have to use self to actually access the actual instance like attributes of the actual dog. And I forgot to put this, we have to give it the parameter self in this method for it to work. Now if we print dog1.speak, notice that we get my name is Bob. Cool. By the way, when we created an instance of the dog class, so when we created dog1 object of the dog class here, for example, then the init method automatically runs by itself as soon as we create the dog1 object. Okay, so now back to the self keyword. So the reason that we have a self keyword is because if we didn't have the self keyword here before name, then it wouldn't know that this name is specific to each of the instances of the class. So if we had the self keyword like this, then it would know that it's specific to each of the class, because every time when we create a class, this self keyword changes to the actual name of the object. So in this case, when we create a dog1, this self keyword actually changes to dog1 by itself. But since it's just a blueprint and isn't a actual object or instance, we use self as a placeholder. Okay, so I know that this concept of the self and the init method can be quite hard to understand, so it can be quite confusing, but I just hope that some more examples probably in the future can help you understand this better. And just before I end this tutorial, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about attributes. And just like how we used some methods on this object here, we can actually get the attributes as well. So let's say we want to get the name of the dog1 object. So we can just do dog1.name, and that will return us the actual the name attribute of the dog. So just to print it out to show you guys, notice that we got Bob here because that is the name of dog1. And if we just change that to dog2, since we use a self keyword, then it should just return its specific attribute, which is Kevin. So if we print this out, we get Kevin here. So I know object-oriented programming and classes can be quite difficult to understand, and it's not a intuitive topic, but I will continue to try to explain it in the next tutorials so I can make sure that you can get a better understanding of this topic. Cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and yeah, see you next time. Bye.